Morning or afternoon, right. Bit of a trip with a difference because I've just arrived at the Channel Tunnel in Folkestone and I'm just waiting to go to the check-in. So we're going to see what happens there, and hopefully when we get on the train in the Channel Tunnel and we get out of France, I'm going to drive through France, through Germany and into Austria. So that's the plan, fingers crossed, and we'll have a few updates along the way. There'll be a bit of car camping involved, I think. There might be some other sorts of camping, and there'll be some other bits and pieces happening. But yeah, we'll see what happens a bit later. Well, that's one barrier down, straight through the initial check-in, and I'm on an early train. I've flown down really. It took me just over 4 hours from Yorkshire down to Kent. So yeah, put me on the 13:18 instead of the 14:18. Which it's 12:26 now, so yeah, result, get through a bit early, go and have a cup of coffee, and I think I've still got the French to contend with yet, so we'll have to see what they say, but fingers crossed. Well, I'm in the queue to get on the train, straight through the French passport control. I just got pulled into an inspection area along with about half a dozen other cars, and they came out and did that thing where they swabbed my steering wheel, and then presumably went and stuck it under a machine like they do at the airport. And then said, yep, on your way, and got to French passport control. Nobody yet has asked to look at my statement of honour, which you need to sign to say you're in France and bring with you, or upload, which I couldn't upload for whatever reason, or my COVID vaccination certificate. All that's happened is I showed my passport, and the saddest bit about it really was having to have my passport stamped post-Brexit, which is a real shame, but there we are, we can still go at least. So yeah, just waiting to get on the train, and up to now, touch wood, yeah, plain sailing. Let's not tempt fate. I'm just gonna have a cup of coffee, and we'll talk more later. All right, this bit's in portrait because I'm using the phone as my sat nav, so that's going to mess up the format on YouTube, isn't it? But maybe I can add some of those blurry edges to make it look a bit landscapey, like they do when somebody films something in portrait on the phone and it ends up on the news. Top tip: if you ever see anything happening and you think you might send it to a news station, film it in landscape. And in fact, do most things in landscape on your phone because it's just a better format, it fits better. Anyway, yeah, we got straight off the ferry. I called in for some diesel, and then I got straight on to one of these lovely French toll roads. And yeah, they're toll roads, but they are lovely because they're really empty. And I mean, I've actually come into some more cones here. We're down to one lane, which has been like that for quite a while. It doesn't really matter because it's so quiet. There's actually the most cars on this stretch that I've seen for a while. And literally I can probably see about a mile ahead, and I bet there's half a dozen cars, and that's in one lane. So yeah, you pay for it, but it's certainly a lot quieter than the A1 was on the way down from Yorkshire to Folkestone. Although to be fair, the A1 wasn't bad at all this morning. I never got held up. I came straight down, about 4 hours 10 minutes. I always prefer it to the M1. But yeah, so we're on the what are we on? Is it the E24 or the A15? It's something like that. As soon as I want to tell you, all the signs have gone. But it's signed Paris anyway, and we're going to drop down towards Metz and Verdun, and I think there are a couple of areas down there which I'm going to decide which one to stop at probably for tonight, because it's too big of a stretch to get to Austria. I don't want to get there in the middle of the night anyway. So we'll see where we get with this, with the next stop, and we'll have a chat then. Right, here's one of the slight problems of driving an English car in France. I'm coming up to a toll booth and the machine's going to be on the wrong side, so at least, I think it is anyway, so at least to get out to stretch my legs. So I'm just going to follow this guy. It's the first toll booth. No, not follow him, there's another one with a green light, and here we go. Oh, there might be one on my side, there might not. No, so I think we're going to have to stop here, and then I'm going to have to get out and get a ticket. Oh well, get a breather. Maybe if the barrier comes down before I get out. Oh no, there you go. Yeah, got one, lovely. But that's somewhere safe. And yeah, so now presumably there will be another toll booth later on, and I'll have to get out the wrong side again and put my credit card in. But yeah, all good. There you go. See what happens at the next one. Right, now we've said all that, we're in a bit of a contraflow on both on the same side of the carriageway, but again, it's still quiet enough, so it doesn't matter. But what I was going to add is, I'm using the phone as sat-nav, and I've got Google Maps on there, which is quite good because it updates, it knows about traffic. But I've got a really old copy of TomTom from when it was on the iPhone, and I bought it. One of the apps I bought it years ago, about 4 iPhones ago, and it's really useful. They stopped updating it despite offering a lifetime, map update, but the maps are still there. And what's nice about it is you get on screen both the local speed limit next to your actual speed that you're doing, which I think Google Maps still doesn't do on the iPhone. I think it does on Android, but for whatever reason it doesn't do it on the iPhone version. So I tend to have them both running some of the time. Google for sort of the intelligent stuff, and the real-time traffic data, and TomTom because you're in a foreign land and in kilometres. It's quite handy to see what you're doing based on the actual speed limit. It gives you a beep if you get carried away. So yeah, that's why we've got the phone. One of the reasons why we've got the phone is the sat nav anyway. So just thought I'd tell you that. Right, here we are at Metz, an area in Metz, stopping place anyway. With a bit of a shop and lovely sunset by the way. Yeah. Anyway, so we've done 510 miles today, so that's about enough. So I'm going to stay here tonight, all being well. The car camping. The car, because I brought quite a lot of stuff. The car's a bit like sort of my spare room, where before you use the bed you have to move loads of stuff. So I think I'm going to have to have a bit of a shuffle around, but I should be able to find room. So yeah, it's been pretty good drive down, to be honest. As I said, for instance, toll roads, I paid a couple of tolls. Paying them was very much the same experience as getting the ticket, getting out the car on the wrong side, walking around, etc, etc. The windscreen could do with a clean. There was something on recently and it said there was apparently a decline in insects because you weren't seeing the same number of insects on your car windscreen. Well, mine's an insect graveyard and the whole front of the car's covered. So that's blown that one out, but it's been really warm as well. It's been 30 degrees. You're not noticed with the aircon on, obviously, but 30 degrees outside. So yeah, not sure what the forecast is tomorrow. But as I say, we're going to stay here for tonight. It's getting quite dusk, although as ever it looks a lot brighter on the camera. And then I think we've about another 500 and odd miles to go. No, we haven't. Less than 500 miles to go to my bit of Austria, which is on the fairly east of Austria anyway. I'm heading first for a place called Radstadt. So we're going to do that tomorrow, get up early and hopefully get there at a reasonable hour, and we'll have a little bit more of a chat. Right, fleece is on. It drops a bit cool once the sun goes down. We're getting sorted here. We've got the jet boil going, and we'll have it going in a minute. And we're not missing about tonight. Something functional, not gourmet. What have we got? We've got naked Singapore style curry egg noodles. It's sort of, I think it's a posh pot noodle, and it may be so posh it might have come from Aldi or somewhere like that. I can't remember, but it'll do for tonight. I brought a drink. I slipped up really. I brought a little bottle of wine, a little glass of wine or something, didn't I? But we haven't anyway, so I'll have to make do with a cup of tea and my noodles. So we'll see how we go on. Evening. Right, we're more or less sorted. The plan would normally be to have the new improved curtain, which we will cover in another video when it's daylight, behind the front seats, so the cars don't look occupied, of course. But because I've got the skis on the other stuff, I've had to stretch the skis. I've put the skis over the back of the front seat, so I've managed to rig the curtains actually in the front, in behind the windscreen. But it doesn't look brilliant, but it's not so bad. And I happened to bring my not so stealth front window covers that I had at the music festival the other week, so they're in. So I think we're going to be okay, but for future reference I'll probably get some of those, or make some of those with a black cover as well. But yeah, we're going to get in anyway. It's a little bit cosy tonight up alongside the bike, but it'll do us. I think it'll be fine. Yeah, just to add, now the guy who was sat next to the on the table next to the car has gone, so I don't look too weird talking to myself. That's what the front windows look like with the silver screens, which aren't very stealthy. But I think we'll be all right here tonight anyway. It's not ideal, but not bad. Morning. It's 7:15 French time. Might be a bit noisy because the motorway behind me is just kicking up. I had an okay night actually, certainly no worse than the previous one at home. I slept tight, as a friend of mine mentioned, literally in between the bike and I mentioned of the skis and stuff out of the way. So I've just availed myself of the facilities in the building there and bought an expensive, very small French cappuccino for the trip. So we're going to get off now, get some diesel in a bit, heading towards Strasbourg and then sort of cross into Germany at some point. And we'll have a chat a bit later, so fingers crossed, all good. There'll be another toll in a bit, no doubt, so we've got that to do, but yeah, we'll speak later. Morning, sun's out again. I've just had my bit of exercise by having to nip out of the car and around the car to get another toll ticket out. And I've also just filled up with some diesel at the slowest diesel pump in the world, which apart from it took ages and my hand was nearly falling off holding the nozzle, it then didn't shut itself off. And I nearly had to jump out of the way to avoid getting diesel on my toes, but never mind. So yeah, we're on the road again. It's about 650 kilometres to my final destination, which is about 6 hours, my sat-nav says, and I think we're about 100 k's from Strasbourg. So the traffic was a bit heavier this morning on the Metz bit, I suppose that's sort of commute to Belt. But we're still on the A4 E25, or is it E25 A4 bit anyway, it seems to have two numbers. And oh, nice canal there. And yeah, so yeah, we're on the way, we're going to do some more miles, might stop for a coffee in a bit, and then we'll see how we get. And really, next stop coffee, but stop after that, Germany, more later. Oh, I've just stopped to pay another toll, and as I exited the toll area, the French customs man waved me down and rammed the window down and asked me where I'd come from, where I was going, why, and if I got any cash on me and how much. And I'm assuming he was just concerned that there's a limit on how much you can bring in, far more than I've got anyway, and I told him I've got a bit. And he was very nice and wished me good holidays. It's just absolute French accent actually, wasn't it? But you know what I mean. And I did that usually. It made me like when faced with any person of authority in this situation. It made me feel totally guilty. It made my heart go a bit, even though I had nothing to be guilty about. But that's what always happens. So anyway, yeah, that's what's just happened. Yeah, but we're back on the road now. I've just turned off the main motorway towards Karlsruhe, towards Germany, and oh dear, yeah, and they're digging the road up. Funnily enough, they took the road surface off. Ouch. So that bit's probably a bit noisy, but as I've come over here I can just see in the distance, in the haze, the first of the German mountains, which is quite exciting. And just like that, we're in Germany, across the border, unattended, and yeah, here we are. Guten Tag. I am still going, got about 350 miles down since this morning, since we got up. I've just stopped for a McBreak, a little burger at the side of the road, which was at the side of the road, and some proper services, and a drink, which was alright. I'm just coming up probably in about 20 miles on Munich, and I've just seen the first sign for Salzburg, which is 216 kilometres away. Always nice to see the first sign for Salzburg, it means you're getting closer. So still a lovely day, 24 degrees on the thermometer. Roads are a bit busier in Germany, and there's still time, to be honest, because I'm not past Munich, there's still time to get really held up, because it can get really busy past there. But we'll keep our fingers crossed and we'll see what happens. Quick update, I'm around about Munich, and I've just driven past Bayern Munich Stadium, the Allianz Arena, and it's only right next to this motorway, so it's literally just down off the other side. It's really close and it looks really spectacular. I couldn't get a shot of it, but obviously, but I'll try and post a photo. I'm sure if I Google view of the Allianz Arena from this motorway, whichever number it is, then somebody will take the photo. But yeah, really spectacular. Thought I'd mention that. Hello again. I've just bought my Austrian motorway vignette into my Austrian toll. I called in at a place called Sammenberg at the services, and got my toll there. And you can either have one for a week, for I think for 10 days, for 20 days, or 2 months. Anyway, I'm here for 22 days. So I think that's happened before, where I've just been a day too much to get the whatever one. So we've got a 2-month one, and you have to buy that in Germany before you go over the Austrian border. And we're coming up on the Austrian border in a very short while, so we shall see if I go through it like I did the German border. or if I have to produce my papers. So we'll keep our fingers crossed, and we'll report back when, and if, but hopefully when, we get into Austria. And that's it. Herzlich willkommen in Österreich. We're in Austria. I've just gone across the border, which is sort of there's a big loads of buildings and a hotel and a big lorry park for lorries and things to get the motorway vignette and one thing and another, and then just a Republic Österreich sign, and you're across, just like it always used to be. So yeah, I was slightly concerned about checks and things. I've got all the paperwork in order, and I've got all the stuff done, so it wouldn't have mattered, but I thought, I might have to show it here and there. But anyway, we're in, and I can see the mountains in front of me. I wish you could see them. I'll try and get a bit of video, but obviously I'm driving, so it's a bit tricky, but there'll be some later on when I'm not driving, which I'll splice in. So yeah, we've got about another 3/4 of an hour to go to where I'm staying, and I'm going to get some diesel, and then we'll have a word later, maybe when I've got a beer. Great. See you later.